Hey, my name is John Anderson. I'm here with Collaboration Project, and we are thrilled to have Aissa Olivarez join us. Did I say that right?
Mhm.
Close, at
Yep.
least. All right. Who is the managing attorney at the Community Immigration Law Center. I'm just thrilled to have you with us today. Thank you so much for taking some time.
Thank you so much for having me.
So our goal today is to learn a little bit about what you do at CILC and what your mission and ministry is into our greater community, or your work in our greater community, and how the church throughout Dane County can be a support to that work. And also we'll ask a question about COVID-19 because we have to these days. Uh,
Great. Yeah.
so let's just start off with, for those who don't know you, because we're hoping a lot of people watch this that don't necessarily, please tell us a little bit about what you do and what the mission of CILC is, and what kind of work you do in our community.
Sure. So CILC, or the Community Immigration Law Center, was established in 2009. And that was in an effort to ensure that immigrants in our community had access to legal representatives who were experts in immigration law. Our founders knew that immigration law is very tricky, it's difficult, it's constantly changing. And so by providing a walk-in legal clinic, which is what started in 2009, we were able to make services by immigration lawyers accessible. By being able to have this walk-in clinic, people could come in, ask a question of an immigration lawyer, and not have to pay anything. And know and feel better about how they were going to move forward with their process. So we weren't offering a lawyer, but we were offering legal assessments and legal advice to people in the community. And then in 2017, we partnered with the Vera Institute of Justice and our Little Dane County and City of Madison partners to basically begin a universal representation legal program. And so what that means is universal representation is making sure that every single person in our community who is detained and at risk of deportation has a lawyer. And there's different reasons why a universal representation program is so important. First, people in immigration proceedings have a right to a lawyer, but not the right to a government-funded lawyer. And so those individuals in our community who are low income, who cannot afford an immigration lawyer, were representing themselves in immigration court. And that goes to our second reason why it's so important is immigration court is an adversarial setting. You're before an immigration judge who graduated from law school and is an expert in immigration law. And you're seated next to a government attorney who also graduated from law school, who is also an expert in immigration law. And so it's so important to have legal counsel by your side who can explain to you your options in the process. And the last reason why it's so important is that there's really high stakes involved in your deportation. You're facing permanent separation from your family member and possibly returning to a country where you don't know the language or the landscape. And so we feel like it's really, really very important that every single person who has to face deportation while they're in detention has legal counsel by their side.
Wow. That just sounds both intense and so important. I know this has been a topic that's been at the forefront of our news for a long time now. Um, but I just want to say on behalf of many that thank you for what you do. And this seems like such an incredible and important and essential service in our community. So I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Tell us a little bit about, everyone is affected by COVID-19 right now. So what are you seeing within the immigrant community? Maybe that's some unique challenges that they're facing right now in light of our current reality.
Sure. Well, I'll start first with our detained clients. So we have clients who are still in immigration detention amongst all of this. And we know right now that our detention facilities and our prison facilities are hotbeds for spreading the coronavirus. These are facilities that are not well equipped with the facilities to be able to separate people. And so the coronavirus is spreading quickly in these facilities. So our detained clients are afraid. They've notified us that officers use gloves, but that they don't use masks when they're around them. And these are officers that are in and out of the facility and able to go home at night, right, and then come back to work. Our clients also, they themselves might have a health condition that makes them more vulnerable to having complications from coronavirus. And so definitely that heightens their anxiety while they're inside of the detention facility, worrying about their family members who are outside and whether they're going to get sick or not. And just as a reminder, immigration detention, right, is used to enforce civil law, not criminal law. And so we have people who are in these detention facilities that are detained by the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. And ICE has the authority to release anybody that they want because they had the authority to detain them in the first place. And so we've been placing pressure on ICE to release as many people as possible as soon as this broke out. And we have been successful in some cases, but we do have some clients who remain detained. Our immigrant community, the larger immigrant community, and the impact and the clients who have been released, who are living with their families here in Madison and Dane County now, we've seen a loss of employment. A lot of our clients work in the service industry, and they haven't been able to go back to work. There's also a lack of access to unemployment and stimulus checks. Even if family members, people who are undocumented, are married to a US citizen or somebody who files taxes, just the simple reason of being undocumented on someone's taxes makes their loved one ineligible for the stimulus check. And so that means that so many of our immigrant families currently are facing eviction or looking at facing eviction once the courts open up again. And they're losing their homes, they've lost their jobs. And so there's a lot of anxiety in the immigrant community right now about what the future looks like, especially being vulnerable because of their legal status.
Yeah, wow. And how is COVID-19 affecting your work and the work of the Community Immigration Law Center? And maybe you've already kind of gone into this, but just kind of your day to day, what differences are you seeing personally?
Sure. So we've, most of our staff is working remotely. We've had to ask our volunteers to stay home, and a lot of our volunteers provide administrative work and creative, solutions to some of our issues. And so it's been difficult. It's lowered our capacity to not have our volunteers on site. But we also are not visiting the detention facilities right now for the health of our clients and for our own health. So we have had to increase resources in mailing things, making more telephone calls. And so we've had to change the way that we've done things in the past so that we can still serve the detained community effectively.
So one of our goals on behalf of Collaboration Project is trying to serve the broader church community throughout Dane County and help them as they have a heart for serving some of the most vulnerable, certainly the kind of work that you're doing. And so in this season, I know, well, historically we've talked before and you shared that the Christian faith community has been a part of your support and continues to be, but what are some ways that the church, if people are watching this, could be a support to you right now?
Definitely. I mean, I think the first thing is we appreciate everyone's prayers at this time. Morale can be low when you're serving people who are especially vulnerable, but morale right now is especially low because we are working as fast as we can to get people out of detention as fast as we can, because we know that every day that passes is another day that our client could catch COVID-19 and could potentially die in that facility. And so your prayers are definitely appreciated. Like I said, we're using more resources now to be able to reach out to clients in an effective way without exposing ourselves or them to COVID-19. And so if anybody is in the place to be able to give donations monetarily so that we can pay for postage, and pay for FedEx overnight to get those kinds of materials to our clients in a timely manner, that would be great. One thing I didn't mention about the way we're impacted is immigration court has continued hearings. So we are still in the office trying to get our clients out, appearing before an immigration judge telephonically. And so this means that there's a lot of paper and postage being used to try and get things out. And another way is just, we have clients who also need rides. When they're released from the detention facility, they're not, because their family members don't necessarily have access to transportation or a driver's license, they're being released from this facility in Juneau and kind of looking around this rural area with nowhere to go.
Okay.
And so if people are willing to be drivers for people who are released now, that's a hard risk. Someone's just being released from detention. They could be sick. We don't know. So we don't want anyone to put their health at risk. But if somebody's willing to sign also a bond, not pay the bond, but sign as an obligor for a bond so that someone can be released, that's also a big help to our clients as well. So people can contact me through my email address, Aissa@CILCmadison.org. If they're interested in any of these avenues or have some kind of unique idea that I haven't thought of, I'm always open to creative solutions. And right now, that's what we need, are creative solutions, because we're trying to serve and continue to serve the people that we did before, just differently.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say again, thank you on behalf of so many for what you do. And I imagine the temptation to feel just exhausted or discouraged has got to be immense. So I know that we are encouraged by you, and I hope that even the response from those who watch this can be an encouragement to you as well. You just gave us your email. Is there anywhere else you direct people to find out more about what you do or contact you in other ways that would be your preferred method?
Sure. So we have a Facebook page where we try and keep the community informed about events that we're having either virtually. Right now, everything's virtual, so we'll have a couple events that we'll post up there soon. We also update people on what's going on with immigration processes. Things are changing every day. Policies are changing every day. So we tend to post those updates on our Facebook page. They can find us under Community Immigration Law Center. And we also have a website, CILCmadison.org.
All right. And we'll include all that on the links below this video on our YouTube page, as well as when we post it. So thank you again so much for your time. I know your life is a little crazy right now. And so just thanks for spending a little time with us and helping inform us about the important work you're doing. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
All right.